could it be? With me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Championship Sunday here on the Louie T Network as we continue to cover the National Football League's 2020-2021 postseason. And we've got our final participant in Super Bowl 55 as the Kansas City Chiefs punched their ticket for the second consecutive year in the big game as they defeat the Buffalo Bills 38-24. I'd be lying to you if I said this wasn't an expected outcome. The Chiefs, to me, were the best team in football for the most part all season long. They just kind of were coasting. And I think I said this on my podcast. They were kind of coasting through the regular season, like almost like, can we get to the playoffs already? Like, this is boring. And they weren't blowing the teams out like they had been last year because they had never done it last year. Last year, everything was brand new to them. So foot stayed on the gas pedal the entire time. They were beating teams by like 30 or 40 last year. They were putting up 40 or 50 every week, it seemed like. This year was like, hey, can we just find a way to win? Find a way to score more points than the other team, whether it's by 1 or 2. You heard the last 8 games they had won by a total of 32 points. They weren't looking to blow anybody out. They were just looking to put another notch in the left-hand column. As the postseason gets underway, you wondered, were they going to be able to rev it back up? It didn't look that way last week, even though it felt like they should have blown Cleveland out. Came down to Chad, don't blame it on the Henny, late to preserve the victory. This week, they look like the Chiefs of old. I told you the biggest difference between the Chiefs last year and the Chiefs this year is that this group actually plays defense. So they can actually win a game 27-20 this year. They couldn't do that last year. Last year, they had to score 34. They had to score 37 because the defense was incapable of holding down the opposition. So I never doubted. Even down 9-0, I said, been here, done that before. Wake me up if this thing is, 24-3 at halftime. Now we got a story. But we saw the Texans game last year. We saw the Titans game last year. Been here, done that, okay? I didn't blink. I didn't flinch. Neither did they at 9-0. They calmly went down the field and got it to the guy that cost them the last touchdown, Mecole Hardman, let him score, get his confidence back involved. And then the onslaught kind of started from there. So 38-24, Mahomes was fantastic. He's magical is what he is, okay? There's one play where he's on the threshold of being sacked. Somehow, on a third down, mind you, somehow he throws it to Travis Kelce, who's open 15 to 17 yards down the field, and you're just like, I'm amazed at both of these quarterbacks, honestly. Allen's falling out of bounds late in the fourth quarter. The game's already been decided, but he's still playing hard, and he's getting chased over towards the sidelines. He's halfway out of bounds. His body is contorted sideways, and he flips it 45 yards down the field, and I'm like, are you kidding me? It's just incredible, but both of these guys have tremendous arms. They're both extremely gifted athletes and really talented at what they do. And we haven't seen the last of Josh Allen and his Buffalo Bills team. They're just getting started. Allen should have thrown 3 picks in this game. You could tell this was uncharted territory for him. You go from never having won a playoff game to being in the AFC Championship, and the moment felt a little bit too big for him. It really did. He was making really bad decisions, poor throws early in this game. Should have been picked off on the opening possession of the game. Should have been picked off on an early third quarter possession that would have really put this thing on ice. And he did get finally picked off early stages of the fourth, I believe, to really put this thing away. So I thought he was solid, but there were some missed opportunities and some drop balls. Singletary, a huge drop on a pass out into the flats. This was a Bills team that hadn't been here before. Chiefs had third straight AFC Championship game that they've hosted. The only other team to do that, the Philadelphia Eagles of the early 2000s. So this been here, done that for the Chiefs, okay? And they handled this game, maybe not the end, with all the chicanery going on between both teams, and it was more the Bills than it was the Chiefs. But the Chiefs, they did enough to instigate. They've been here, done that, and so they look like a team that knew what they needed to do to advance. They look like a team that already had the key to how to get back to the Super Bowl, and they were just looking for the door to stick that key into. And tonight they finally found that door, stuck the key in, and now they're heading to Tampa. So, again, Mahomes, fantastic. Travis Kelce, fantastic. Tyreek Hill, ridiculous. What more can I say? Mahomes had 325 passing, 300. Listen to this. 300 of them from Kelce and Hill. How could you, Buffalo? How could you? You want to beat the Chiefs? The two guys you got to stop. Just said the same thing about beating Green Bay. You want to beat the Packers? Devontae Adams is the guy you got to stop. The Buccaneers, for the most part, did that today. Make MVS beat you. Make Alan Lazard beat you. If you're playing the Chiefs, make Pringle beat you. Make Mecole Hardman beat you. Especially when there's no Samuel Watkins. Make one of these other guys. Make Demarcus Robinson beat you. You let the two guys beat you who you can't let beat you. You got to at least attempt to take one of them away. Both of them can't go over 100. They can't combine for 300 yards receiving between the two of them. Impossible. If you want to win, that is. In any event, I talked about Kelce killing them because tight ends have killed the Bills all year, and I talked about that, and I said they have issues. We saw it in the first game, wild card weekend against the Colts. I said tight ends kill the Bills. That's going to be their undoing in this postseason. And I thought the Ravens were going to have a field day against them, and because of the wind and maybe even a splatter of Lamar Jackson, the tight ends didn't eat for whatever reason last week. But I knew Travis Kelce was going to eat in this game. They've had issues with the tight end all season long. It continued in this game. But not only did they have tight end issues, they had Tyreek Hill issues. And a lot of people can attest to that. A lot of teams have suffered, including the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who will see this same Chiefs team who gave up over 200 yards receiving to Tyreek Hill in the first quarter. I told you that Buccaneers secondary is suspect. This is the exact team they probably didn't want to see. But we got a lot of time to talk about that. Let's talk about the Chiefs quickly and how they were able to get this win. And then we'll talk about the Bills and what a season it was. What a ride it was for the Bills and Bills Mafia and all that they accomplished this year. This is not a lost season if you're the Bills. Yeah, you wanted to go to the Super Bowl. Yeah, it stings right now. It hurts. You could tell those players were in their feelings. As you know, when you come this far and it's been this long of a journey, especially in COVID-19 2020 season like no other, when you've been able to do the things the Bills have been able to do this season, it hurts when you come this far only to be told you've been denied access to Tampa. It hurts. But it's a hell of a season for the Buffalo Bills. But if you're a Chiefs fan, this is what you expected. This is what you've been waiting on, an opportunity to get back to the Super Bowl again. And I thought they went out and they did a really good job of staying balanced. Even though the run game wasn't all that great today, they ran it when they needed to run it. They did a good job, and they always do a good job of this. You never know when the run is actually coming. And even though that Tyreek Hill little flip pass is not actually a run, it's a pass, still, it's like an extension of the run game. So, they find different ways creatively. The Mecole Hardman run goes for 50. You add in the runs by Williams, and it's over 100 yards rushing on the afternoon, 23 carries, about 115 or 16 yards or so. That's a great average if you're the Chiefs. And that's all you're looking to do. Even though, Williams on the day wasn't really all that impressive. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was not dynamic by any stretch of the imagination rushing the football. You kept the Bills honest. You took what they gave you underneath. They employed it. And I was expecting Leslie Frazier to come up with some kind of diabolical scheme. Like, okay, this is what we gave you the last time. We played soft, 2 safeties deep. We gave you everything you wanted underneath against the run. We gave you light boxes and easy looks to run against, and you took advantage. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 161 yards rushing on 23 carries the last time around. And so I thought he was going to say, you know what, to hell with that. we're going to be a much more aggressive team this time around. We're going to switch up our looks. It's going to look like two high safeties, but we're going to come with a safety down into the box at the snap of the football, and we're going to try to confuse you. We're going to ask you to run only to have you running into an 8-man box instead of a 7-man box. I was wrong. They stayed soft. They gave him everything he could ask for underneath early in the game. Then they tried to get aggressive, and the minute that they did, that's when Tyreek Hill hits you for a 70-yard catch and run. So it was like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And they had him on their heels. Mahomes took what they gave early, forced them to be a little bit more aggressive. The second that they decided to be aggressive, they hit him in the mouth. So what do you do at that point? It's hard to really say. You know, they had no answers for Travis Kelce. You knew they wouldn't. And the big part is they had no answer for Tyreek Hill. And if he didn't drop the first one on the first possession of the game, he's over 2 bills in this game, and this thing is probably a 40-burger. So the Chiefs are what we thought they were, and they executed well. I was really amazed at how well they played defensively. I knew they were capable. I've been talking about this Chiefs defense all year long. Look, they're not great. Let's not get this narrative of all of a sudden they can play elite defense. No, that's not what I'm saying. I just said they're a lot better than they were last year, but I still expected the Bills to be able to be more consistent, especially against that Chiefs secondary. And they showed you all night long. They were in man-to-man coverage. They were locking these receivers up. Lock him up! Lock him up! I didn't expect them to lock these boys up the way that they did. That was impressive. Stephon Diggs goes from a guy that can't be held under 100 yards to save your life to a guy that was a non-factor for much of this game. He didn't have over 50 yards until he had that big catch on their last possession offensively of the game. So they pretty much kept Stephon Diggs under wraps. He started to get upset on that 2-point conversion that was failed. He was ready to go after one of the Chiefs players on that play. So you can see the frustration with him. You can see the Bills just really getting frustrated towards the end of this game on both sides of the football, really. Cole Beasley, he'd been banged up. He was banged up coming into the game. He'd been fighting and through nagging injuries. But he might have been your best option in this football game, to be really honest with you. The run game, this is the biggest issue I have with the Bills. And you got to give credit to the Chiefs once again for not allowing the Bills to have a big game on the ground when they haven't been running the football. They haven't been running the football. We'll get to that. Let me stick with the Chiefs for a second in this defense. If the Bills aren't going to run it, when they do decide to run it, don't let them. They didn't. Don't let Josh Allen's legs become a part of this game. And honestly, I thought the Bills needed to do more with Josh Allen and his legs because he was their leading rusher in this game. It wasn't even close. He had like 7 rushes for 70-something yards, 8 rushes, 70-something yards, whatever it was. I thought his legs should have been a bigger part of this game plan. I remember, I think it was Indianapolis's game where he ran it like 11, 12 times, it felt like. It probably wasn't that many runs. Maybe it was. But he was a massive part of that game as a runner. And I thought there was some opportunities, especially with the Chiefs being so aggressive. How many times did we see safety blitzes, corner blitzes in this game? How many times did we see an unblocked defender coming off the edge, screaming off the edge, or a guy that the tackle was supposed to get a hand on, but because they're timing it up so well and they're coming so quickly, they get in there and Allen is flustered. I thought there needed to be some quick screens, some things out of his hands quickly, maybe even a quarterback draw to slow their asses down with that blitz, and it never came really in this game. Everything they wanted to drop Allen back, and he had so much success with the empty sets where he just kind of sits back and kind of dissects what the defense is doing. And credit the Chiefs for not allowing them to get comfortable. Oh, you want to empty the set? Okay, we're going to come after your ass. You're going to have somebody get open quickly. And they were coming up, challenging these receivers, deleting the airspace, getting in their face, and really making it tough on Josh Allen to decipher where to go with the football. And so kudos to this Chiefs defense, man. They got after Allen. They had some big sacks on him. They flushed him out of the pocket. There were a couple of scrambles in there, but for the most part, they were few and far between. This Chiefs defense deserves all the credit in the world, especially the secondary stepping up and making plays. Rashad Fenton comes in because of the injury to 38, who he's having a hell of a postseason, by the way. I think it's the rookie L'Jarius Sneed. Ever since week 1 against Houston, remember he was humongous in that Houston win on a Thursday night to kick the season off. And L'Jarius Sneed has just been a diamond in the rough for them this season, having to play early because of the Bashaud Breeland suspension, and he's really never looked back. He's been an integral part of what they've done. I thought Juan Thornhill was outstanding tonight as well. Just thought the defense overall was flying around. They got after Josh Allen. They were aggressive. They didn't sit back on their heels and wait for the Bills to make a mistake. They forced the Bills to make a mistake. And Allen, who should have thrown 3 interceptions, finally did throw one late in the ball game, and Fenton picked it off. And that was pretty much all she wrote at that point. The score was already getting to a point where it was a little uncomfortable if you were a Bills fan at the time of that interception. What was it at that point? 31-12. It was 31-12, I think, at that point. So you were kind of in that danger zone already. And it's 15, excuse me. It was 31-15 at that point. And then that pick and then the drive afterwards to put it away at 38-15 was pretty much all she wrote. As you get to the Buffalo side of things, I wasn't in love with the way they ran their offense in this game. Again, I thought Josh Allen's legs needed to be a bigger part of the offensive game plan. But let's put that aside for a second. If a team is going to blatantly disrespect you at the line of scrimmage and continuously blitz you, like there is no repercussion. They acted as if you didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver and one of the best receivers in the league in Stephon Diggs. They acted as if Cole Beasley couldn't hurt them. They acted as if Smoke Brown wasn't out there, another guy that can run past their secondary. They acted as if Dawson Knox isn't a part of the passing game, and they really acted as if rookie wide receiver Gabe Davis was non-existent, and he was. I don't even know if he had a catch in this game. They disrespected this Bills offense like it wasn't the second best offense in the AFC all season long. They essentially said, I dare you. And instead of you saying, oh, this is how you're going to try to treat us? You're going to try to play us like this? You're going to try to come in our face, delete the airspace, and come and be aggressive? Okay, boop, here's a little screen to Stephon Diggs. Go tackle him. Boop, here's a little screen to McKenzie. Go after him then. It never came. It never happened. I was waiting for the tunnel screen. I was waiting for the quick hitter. Oh, you going to come with 5? Oh, you going to come with 6? You going to be over-aggressive? Boop. Here goes one for your ass. How you like this one? It never came. It never happened. I said, okay, they're going to be aggressive. Here comes that Josh Allen quarterback draw. It never came. And how about that? I thought the Packers showed a little bitchness. Or as a wise man once told me, some bitch assness earlier in the game when heading to halftime, the Packers had a chance to go for points. They showed no mercy. I mean, Cobra Kai style, no mercy against the Rams. In 29 seconds, they marched right down the field and got a field goal. Against the Bucks, they went Miyagi-Do on us. They went all defensive. Let's burn up the clock. Oh, that was some bitch shit that got them hit for a touchdown on their skull. And I said, this Bills football team, they're going to bitch on me right now. You really think you're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs kicking field goals? You think you're going to Tyler Bass your way to the Super Bowl? You got another thing coming. The hell is wrong with you? Just like I told Packers head coach earlier in the afternoon, go to the sink, turn on the right faucet, wait till it gets ice cold, stick both hands under the sink, and toss it on your damn face and get your damn mind right if you think you're going to beat the Chiefs field goaling them to death. 4 damn Tyler Bass field goals? Really? You think that's how you're going to make it to Tampa? You got to score touchdowns, man. You can't be getting in the red zone and deciding that this is the week we're going to try to field goal somebody to death. This is not Baltimore. You needed touchdowns. And that drive before the half, 3 points wasn't going to win you that game. You got to go for it, man. Scare money don't make money. I loved it on the opening possession. It's 4th and 1. He was like, it's the Chiefs, man. We got to go for it. And you went for it and you picked it up. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, Sean. I hope you keep that same energy the remainder of the game because that's what it's going to take. And Sean bitched up on me right before halftime. I'm going to take the points. Sean, it's 4th and goal from the 2, bruh. Not 4th and goal. We had this discussion last week. When the Colts decided to go for it, it's 4th and goal from the 4, kick the field goal. It's 4th and goal from the 2, bruh. From the 2. Go for it. What are we doing? What are we doing right now? I don't understand that, man. A wise man once told me, I don't understand the language of people with short money. I don't understand the language of people who trying to kick field goals. That's loser talk. That shit is like foreign language to my ears. When you start talking loser talk, I don't know. It's in one ear, out the other, and it just sounds like gibberish to me. It's like Charlie Brown at school. Wah, 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 wah. What are you doing, man? You got to go for the gusto, bro. You got to score a touchdown. These are the damn Chiefs. If that second quarter didn't teach you anything, you're up 9-0 going into the second quarter, and you're staring at the Chiefs, and it's 21-9. If that second quarter didn't tell you that you're not going to be able to kick field goals, I don't know what else to tell you. I can't help you, bro. Anyhow, that to me showed me where his head was. But let's move past that. I always was convinced this Bills defense was going to be their undoing this season. And they weren't good in this game, but it's the Chiefs. I'm not going to kill them. I was disappointed more so in the offense than anything else. Because you got down in the red zone several times in this game. I just talked about one of those possessions where you weren't able to get in. And I'm looking for the same exact play. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you go read option or you go RPO, where you stick it in the belly of the running back, and you got Dawson Knox leaking into the flat. What are they going to do? Either you're going to respect me handing this to the running back. I'm going to give it to him if you come play me as the quarterback. If you don't respect the running back, I'm going to hand it to him. If you do respect the running back, I'm going to pull it and I'm going to run because I'm Josh Allen and I got wheels. And if you all collapse on me, I'm going to just toss it to Dawson Knox just like you did after the muffed punt. Like, what are we doing here, man? It's a reason why this guy accounted for 50 touchdowns in the red zone, or 50 touchdowns this season, and probably 30 or 35 of them in the red zone, because he's a touchdown machine. Let him do what he was made to do. Put pressure on the defense, or the new in vogue term, let him put the defense in conflict. You didn't let him do it. Twice when you got down there. Again, as I mentioned, disappointed in the offense. Disappointed that Stephon Diggs was a no-show in this game for the most part. Disappointed that Josh Allen, I felt like, was trying to do too much. And he suffers from this from time to time. We've seen this from him before. He did it in Wild Card Weekend when he almost fumbled the game away. And I talked about Darrell Williams, unsung hero, had to go recover a fumble that would have helped the Colts find a way to pull that game out. We know this is one of the things that Josh Allen suffers from. He wants to be the hero all the time. But I'm not going to put it on any of the players. They needed to play better. This one falls in the lap of Brian Daboll. He wanted a job. He didn't get a job. I didn't like his play calling last week against the Ravens, where they just blatantly disregarded the run. They essentially did it again in this game, but to take it a step further, there was no Josh Allen threat of the run. And to me, that's a mistake anytime you're playing with teams that are good. You could get away with that against Jacksonville and the Jets and teams like that, where you can say, you know what, we won't worry about running the football, or Josh, for that matter, even being a part of the run game. We could just spread them out. We going to put our 5 against your 5. We think our 5's going to win. You know, we think we're going to empty this set. We're going to let Josh sit back here and dissect your defense. And we like our matchup with Diggs. We like our matchup with Beasley. We like our matchup with Gabe Davis. We like our matchup with Smoke Brown. Somebody's going to win, and Josh is going to find them. And if not, Josh is going to roll out of the pocket, extend, and he's going to find somebody. That works in the regular season, okay? You get to the postseason, everybody's good. So now you got to throw some wrinkles in there, and Josh Allen's legs are something you can't account for. And I didn't think Brian Daboll introduced that enough in this football game. I thought he let the team down with some of his play calling. At a minimum, I needed to see at least 1 or 2 screens to slow that damn blitz down. You're going to be this aggressive? All right, I'm going to bust in your damn skull with a screen. And I'm going to screen you to death, and I'm going to hit you with some underneath throws until you stop. They never made the Chiefs stop. I said, I'm throwing up blitzes right now. I'm coughing up blitzes. Shit. When is it going to stop? It got to the point now where I'm like, this is borderline disrespect. This is disrespectful right now. What they're doing. They're treating Josh Allen like this is 2018 Josh Allen. This is disrespectful. This man was an MVP candidate. This is disrespectful right now. And Brian Daboll didn't help his man out. He didn't help him out at all. He left him out to dry. So most of this loss, I'm placing squarely in the lap of the offense, because this isn't the offense that everybody was talking about coming into the postseason that put up 40 plus on Buffalo or Denver. That might have been a 50 burger. They were having fun on a Saturday afternoon when they clinched. Their backups came in and did Miami in week 17. This is not the same offense. It wasn't in wild card weekend. Again, one of the better defenses in the league in the Indianapolis Colts. I get it. You found a way to win. I didn't think that was a great offensive performance in that game, but you found a way to win. Last week was abysmal. Okay, that was a defensive win more so than anything else. This week, again, where did the offense go? Where did the creativity go? I don't know. We knew that the defense wasn't going to be able to stop this Chiefs offense. We knew that coming in. This was not a surprise. The fact that this game was 21 to 9 or 12, excuse me, at halftime, shit, it felt like an achievement to me. And, even at 20, I think it was 24 to 12, I'm like, look, the defense is giving you a shot, offense. Where the hell you at? You weren't where you needed to be. That was the problem. You go down the field and you get another field goal. And Tyler Bass was outstanding. Got to give him credit, because he banged home some big ones from 51 and, from some distance. But there were too many times, and just like in the Packers game, too many times where I'm looking up and the kicker's kicking a 26-yard field goal. That's loser football. In the playoffs, that's loser football. When your kicker's kicking a 24 or 23-yard field goal, that's loser football. You dying to get beat. And that's essentially what happened. Hell of a season for the Bills, though. You got nothing to be ashamed of. This is a building block. Again, you can tell this was his first time here. This is a bigger stage than the wild card weekend. He had already done that. This is a bigger stage than the divisional round. That was his first time. Win aided, and the defense had to step up. This was a little bit too big for him right here. You could tell. Everybody involved, really. This collectively as a group, this was big for everybody. So next time you get here, it won't be too big for everyone. And this is a good Bills football team. They're well coached, but they're not better than the Chiefs. And we saw that today. And this is when coaching needs to step in, because the players on the field, if you just let the players on the field decide that the Chiefs are supremely superior to that of the Buffalo Bills, that's when your coaching staff has to help. They got to jump in the fight. You can't win it. It's not a fair fight. So they got to jump in and try to help. And I didn't think Brian Daboll did that, and I didn't think your head coach, Sean McDermott, did that with his decision before half to kick a field goal. And don't get me started on the decision. It's simple math, guys. Some of these coaches really struggle with the math side of things. Look, dude, the key is to keep your team in the game as long as you possibly can. That's the goal as a head coach, is to it's like the comp is calling timeouts in the NBA at the end of a game and fouling. Okay, you're just trying to prolong the game and give your team a chance. That's it. The best way to do that at the end of a football game is to make sure you're never down by more than 2 scores. That's the way you keep yourself in a game. And so when you're down by 23, okay, it's simple math. It's 38-15. You score a touchdown. All right, you kick the extra point. That's going to make it 16. I know going for 2 sounds great and it's tempting and it'd be nice to get it to 15. That's not the move here, bro. That's not the move here. Why? Because if you don't get it, the game's over. You're down 3 scores at 17. Doesn't make any sense mathematically. Let's be smart here, man. Kick the extra point. Make it a 2-score game. You ultimately get the onside kick, which is crazy, but you do. And now you could have been in a position in the very next snap. Stephon Diggs is up the seam and you're at the 15-yard line of the Chiefs. Had it been a 16-point game, I'm sitting here saying, oh shit, we might have something here. Instead of thinking, it doesn't matter, you can score a touchdown here. It's still over, it's still 10. Even with an extra point, it's still 10. Come on, man, be smart. It wasn't smart to kick the field goal before halftime, and going for 2 there wasn't smart. You didn't prolong the game. You didn't give your team a chance. You essentially told them, with that failed 2-point conversion, game's over. Don't do that. But he hadn't been here either, man. Sean hadn't been here either. It was new for everybody. So I'm going to cut him a break. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to some super chats before we get this thing kicked off. A lot. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My man A Lot writes, Chad, don't blame it on the Henny. Hilarious. That's our guy, man. Don't blame it on the vodka. Don't blame it on the goose. Blame it on the Henny, man. Got you feeling real tipsy. Anyway, got another super chat. This one is from my guy, Fat American. Thank you for the super chat, Fat American. Greatly appreciate you, writes. If it ain't my favorite football guy, Louie T. What up, man? I appreciate the kind words, sir. Good to see you, too. I got a super chat here from Edic Dulac. Thank you for the super chat, Edic Dulac, who writes, the way Brian Daboll called the last 2 games, I think he was focused on the head coach job hunting more than the games for the Bills. You can always argue that, but I thought that was more the case last week. There was no job out there for him this week. You know, if you wanted to chalk it up to him potentially having his eyes on that Chargers job and kind of being distracted with that, cool. He wasn't able to interview for it, though, and I know that's tough, but he had a job to do, and there was a job at hand and a task at hand. I didn't think he did a great job last week, but, you know, I chalked that up to a bunch of things. The Ravens are a good defensive unit. The wind was howling and gusting last week. I thought it was insane for them to go the first 25 plays of the game, not have a single run. But, you know, it is what it is. You won the game 17-3. I didn't have any issues because you won, you know. But this week, I needed him to be on his A game. And I thought this was a C- type of game from Brian Daboll. I've seen much better from him. I know he's fully capable. And this week there was no excuse because all the head coaching jobs essentially had been filled except for the Houston Texans gig. And that was between the 2 coordinators in this game. Offensive coordinator on the Chiefs sideline, defensive coordinator on the Bills sideline, reportedly at least. So he could have been focused on other things. I don't think that was the case. I just think he called a really poor game. That's what I also ultimately think it boils down to. You could chalk that up earlier in the postseason to him maybe not having his focus where it needed to be. But after last week's performance and all the jobs essentially being taken off of the board, there was nothing in his way stopping him from putting all of his attention, focus, and energy into putting the Bills' offense in the best position to succeed. And I didn't think he necessarily did that for many opportunities in this game, and many times in this game, I should say. Fat American, thank you for doubling up. Double up. Greatly appreciate you, Fat American, for doubling up. Who writes, Bruce Arians can go and shove it. Hope they lose. Hey, Bruce is my guy. You know, even though he tried to talk some trash about Chase Young being the defensive player of the year, defensive rookie of the year, he was just advocating for his guy. I didn't like the fact that he drug our guy into it. Don't speak my name. I don't got nothing to do with it because I'm better than your guy. But at the end of the day, I'm a massive fan of Uncle Bruce. I've always been a fan of Uncle Bruce's, and I'm gonna continue to be a fan of Uncle Bruce's. And I just didn't want Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Not in year one. Yeah, he could do whatever the hell he wanted to do after year one. I just didn't want him coming to the NFC and just picking up where he left off in the AFC. That's bullshit. Thought that the NFC, as a collective group, they let everybody down. Rich says, Lou, I wanted Rodgers, not another old farm, because I don't count Rodgers. This was Rodgers' year. I wanted Packers versus Bills. You wanted Packers versus Chiefs. Why do we never get what we want? Because that's how the football gods ordain it. And I thought Tony Romo was wrong. And maybe he was right. Maybe more people wanted to see Brady and Mahomes again. I didn't. I wanted a State Farm Bowl. I wanted Mahomes and I wanted Brady or Rodgers. I wanted to see Rodgers have another chance at a chip. I wanted to see these two. We never got to see Mahomes versus Rodgers. We were supposed to get it last year on a Sunday night, and Rodgers showed up and Mahomes was injured. And so it was Matt Moore versus Aaron Rodgers. So I haven't seen Rodgers versus Mahomes. I was dying to see it. I already seen Brady versus Mahomes 4 times. I'm good. I didn't need, I'll pass. I didn't need to see this shit again. Now, it's a great consolation prize. I'll take it. But that's not what it's almost like you go to Chipotle and you get home and you get in your bag and you're like, I asked for guac and brown rice and black beans, and you get home and you got a little bit of guac, not enough, not nearly enough. Okay, they're very stingy with the guac, which they can be at times. I got white rice instead of brown rice, and I got those pinto beans instead of the black beans. This is not what I asked for. I mean, I'm going to eat it. It's still vegan, so I'm going to eat it. This is not what I asked for, though. Okay? It's not what I asked for, but I'm still going to consume it. Still pretty good stuff. It's just not what I asked for. But then again, as I told you already, we never get what we ask for. I'm used to this. If you've been a fan of sports your entire life, you never get what you want. It doesn't happen. Never does. Lurts of Orthanic says, it's Brady versus Mahomes, but not as we ever imagined it. Yeah, I mean, again, we've had this already 4 times, 3 times in the AFC. This will be the second time this year that the two have met. They met earlier in the regular season. They're going to meet again in the Super Bowl. Again, it's cool. Not what I asked for. Not what I asked for at all. Edict Dulac says, Brian Daboll's play calls in the red zone were the worst of the whole season. I think the plays should have been option plays for Allen. As I've mentioned already, and that's a good observation, Edict, is that Allen's leg should have been, and Romo even said it himself, like, first of all, you need to go for this right before the half, and secondly, why not use Josh Allen as a part of the play? You know, his legs are dynamic. What are we doing right now? I don't know. Atlas says, Brady, how many times do I have to teach you this lesson, professional football watcher? So let me stop any Bucs fans right now. You don't get to do the whole us against the world, spiel right now. Go celebrate your damn trip to the Super Bowl. You've been waiting since 2002 to do this. Don't come here with your bullshit. You should be celebrating. Celebrate! You're going to the damn Super Bowl, the first team in NFL history to play a home Super Bowl. You shouldn't be worried about anybody talking about the pass interference call. You shouldn't be worried about any kind of spite that you got during the season, before the season, during the postseason. They didn't think we were going to do this. They didn't think we were going to do. You shouldn't be worried about any of that. You should be so ecstatic right now. So elated. None of this shit should matter to you. Leave that to us. Let us talk about all of the ancillary, irrelevant shit. Let the losers worry about losing. You won the game. I know you're still stuck in that loser mentality because you've been there for so long. Let the losers worry about losing. You're a winner right now. Enjoy winning. I digress. A lot says, Chiefs are literally unstoppable. LOL. Don't know how the Bucs can handle these dudes. The way to handle them is the way they handled Rodgers today. Get to Mahomes. It's easier said than done, but Eric Fisher looks like he blew out his Achilles tonight. That's a shame. You come this far. And I remember watching the play live, and he kicked himself in his Achilles. And I was like, man, I hope that's just a strain of his Achilles, because he kicked the shit out of his own Achilles. And I said, I hope it didn't give way. And it did. And that's unfortunate, man. But that's the ticket. Eric Fisher is out, so now their left tackle is gone. They got a bunch of injuries on the offensive line. A couple of guys went down, but they were able to come back. That's the way they're going to be able to get pressure. This will be the second straight week the Buccaneers have gone against, or it'll be the second straight game because they're not playing next week, that they've gone against a team without their starting left tackle. And they ate up the Packers' backup tackle, Billy Turner. And the key will be get to Mahomes. Make him uncomfortable. That's what the 49ers did in the Super Bowl last year. So that's the key. If they can't do that, they don't stand a chance. Atlas says, I need you to bet against us one more time. You don't have to worry about that. I'm definitely betting against you again. I don't give you any chance of beating this Chiefs football team. Zero. So you don't have to worry about me. I'm telling you right now, the disrespect is here. And if you win, I'm not running. You know where to find me. So you don't have to worry about that. It's the same thing that happened. I remember the Eagles 2017 Super Bowl. I disrespected them every step of the way. And they shut me up every step of the way. This wasn't that, though. I knew that you were capable of beating Washington, picked you to win that game, knew you were going to win that game. Thought you were going to lose to the Saints, but I didn't know Drew Brees was essentially playing with one arm. And it wasn't his right arm, which is the one we needed. He needed his left arm was the only healthy arm, which was unfortunate because he couldn't throw the football more than 8 yards down the field. It was actually hard to watch. Medusa, you know? But that's not nor here nor there. The defense dominated. You won the football game. You did what you had to do. This game, I thought you were going to lose because I thought Aaron Rodgers was going to have a field day against your secondary. And for the most part, he did. But I thought they bitched up a couple of times. I thought that drive before halftime, that was some pure bitch assness by the Packers staff. Mainly Matt LaFleur, because it was his decision to pretty much say, all right, we're cool. We're not going to try to go after any points. Well, it bit you in the ass. And then the decision to not go for the touchdown. And again, Rodgers too. Rodgers, I give equal blame to LaFleur and Rodgers in this game because I thought Rodgers missed some opportunities as well. But the defense stepped up once again. I thought Brady was outstanding. He did throw 3 interceptions, but I thought Brady gave you a chance to win, and you did. But again, much like this week, and this isn't Rodgers. Mahomes is not. I don't like to call Rodgers a choker. That's not the term I would just use to describe Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron isn't a winner in these situations. That's not what he does, okay? Mahomes is. So you're getting a different animal. One that's not afraid of Brady. One that will be able to take Brady out back and spank him like he's done the last 2 times. And I'm pretty sure he's looking forward to doing it a 3rd time. And I will be rooting like hell for him to accomplish that, just so you know. So we'll see what happens. But you don't have to worry about me betting against you. I'm telling you I'm betting against the Buccaneers because I haven't bet against the Chiefs pretty much all season long. And until somebody knocks them off of the mountaintop, they're the champs. And I don't see this Buccaneers team doing it. But if anybody could do it, it's Tom effing Brady. Okay? So it's gonna be fun to watch. Niners fan says, do you think Rodgers ever gets another ring? This was his opportunity. I mean, I say that, and he could be back next year and finally get it done, but this felt like it right here. This was the best opportunity with no true threat in the NFC this year. I mean, the Bucs were the 5 seed for crying out loud. Like, if you couldn't get it done this year, Rodgers had never played a championship game at home. All the stars were aligned. And you couldn't get to the Super Bowl this year. I don't know how. I mean, unless Rodgers goes somewhere else and does it, but how is he ever going to be on a team better than Green Bay? I mean, honestly, if he leaves Green Bay, and I don't think that's happening this offseason, but I do think it's a realistic possibility the next offseason. Don't you think that it won't be a better squad than this Packers squad? Like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like he's going to win another ring. He says, also, do you think he demands a trade this offseason? Would love to bring him home to my Niners. I don't think he demands anything, no. Not this offseason. I think next year will be the offseason where we start to see maybe Aaron Rodgers get a little antsy because, remember, he had 4 years left on his deal coming into the season, so he's got 3 years left. They got Jordan Love on a rookie contract, so there's no rush. Next year is when the clock really starts to tick. After next season, now you're going into the third year after that of Jordan Love. Like, we got to start to see what this guy has. So I don't think this is the year where you gotta see what Jordan Love has in year 2. It's year 3 when you're like, okay, we got to get Jordan Love on the field. So I think there's one more year of Rodgers in Green Bay, and after that, that's when I think they start exploring options to trade him. I really do. Got another super chat. This one is from Fat American. Thank you for tripling up, Fat American. Greatly appreciate you, my man. Fat American writes. Oh, no. I already read that one. Excuse me. This one is from Lurtz of Orthanic. Thank you for the super chat, Lurtz of Orthanic, who writes, does the Chiefs as 3.5-point favorites sound like easy money? # Lucky Louie. First of all, don't call me Lucky Louie because I have not been right this postseason. So I would hate to give out some erroneous information. But yes, that does sound like stealing, 3.5. Whomever wins this game, whether it's the Chiefs. First of all, this is how I feel. If the Chiefs win against Tampa Bay, they're going to win by more than 4 points, essentially. You know, if you're going to bet, buy the half point to get it to 4. But they're going to win by more than 4 points. I personally feel that way. It doesn't have to be, but I think they're going to. If the Bucks win, then you already lost the bet anyway. So for me, it sounds like a really good bet that you'd want to take. But I don't know. We'll see. A lot of things to be determined. What's the status of Samuel Watkins? Is he back next week? That's huge because it changes their offense drastically when he's healthy. 2 more weeks, and I think he'll be back. And then I don't really think they have a chance to cover the Chiefs if you add Samuel Watkins back. I've always called him the X factor. He's only going to play 8 or 9 games a season. But in those 8 or 9 games, I always feel like the Chiefs are unstoppable offensively because if you try to take away Kelsey, then Hill gets you. If you take away Hill, then Kelsey gets you. If you take away both of those guys, which is damn near impossible, then Samuel Watkins gets you. Just like last year in the Super Bowl. Who was the guy that really hurt you? Before the big play to Tyreek Hill, it was Samuel Watkins, who went over 100 yards last year in the Super Bowl against the 49ers. So we'll see what happens. Got another super chat. This one is from David Sanchez. Thank you for the super chat. David writes, Wash gave the Bucks the hardest game of the playoffs. It feels that way, but I wouldn't say that. This Packers team, to me, yeah, they were down 18 at one point, 28-10. But they rallied back. They were within 5. They had the football multiple times with the chance to take the lead. This was their toughest opponent. This Packers team and Aaron Rodgers was their biggest challenge. The Saints were in the game, but they knew they smelled blood in the water with Drew Brees. Like, he couldn't throw the football. They knew what they were dealing with. I'd say this Packers game was by far and away their toughest opponent this postseason thus far. And they passed the test. It was a hell of a test on the road against the future MVP of the league, and they passed the test. I mean, it's a big test that the Buccaneers passed in that football game. Jordan Jones, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jordan Jones writes, still crazy that all those penalties offset. That's one of my pet peeves. A lot of people like to bitch and complain about the fumbling into the end zone and out of bounds rule where it's the ball's a touchback and awarded to the other team. I love the rule. Don't effing fumble the ball going into the end zone. You need to be penalized for that. Don't put the ball back at the 2-yard line where you fumbled it or at the 1. No, if you wanna be ballsy and stretch the football out, you better damn hold on to it. If you don't, you need to be penalized for it. I love that rule. A lot of people bitch and complain, oh, it's the stupidest rule in the NFL. No. You know what the dumbest rule is? Offsetting goddamn penalties when one team has 3 penalties and the other team has 1. That's a dumb rule. Okay? So they get to have 3 offset. They get to have 3 personal foul penalties and unsportsmanlike conducts. My guy gets 1. It's 45-15, and we offset and just say, all right, don't worry about it. Everything's forgiven. No, that's bullshit. They should have 30 yards of penalty on that play. But then again, you're asking referees to do math and shit like that. No one wants to do math. Okay? So let's just call it even. That's stupid. That's dumb. That's like you owing me $30 and you give me back 10 and you say, hey, we even, right? No, you still owe me $20. What am I the $20? No, it's not even. Well, I told you I was going to pay you back in a month and I paid you back in 2 weeks. Let's just call it even. No, you still owe me $20. Where's my dub? Stupid. That, to me, is a travesty. Anyhow, to get back to the comment section. And Niners fan says, Mahomes and company are going to feast on that Bucs secondary. If the Chiefs could get pressure on Brady with Jones and Clark and Okafor, it should be over quickly. I don't think. So, first of all, I'm not a huge Frank Clark fan. Never have been, never will be. Think he's overrated. I can't believe he even made the Pro Bowl. How many sacks did Frank Clark? I don't have my phone next to me. How many sacks did Frank Clark have this year? Can't be any more than 6.5, 7 max. Like, why is this guy in the Pro Bowl? Somebody explain to me. Now, I'll feel pretty dumb and have egg all over my face if he had 12.5 sacks this year. He didn't have 12.5. I watched just about every Chiefs game this year. Not just about. I watched every. He didn't have double-digit sacks this year. No way. The sack he got tonight was a gimme. Like, the right tackle essentially just gave up on the play. I don't see Okafor or Clark generated. The guy that's going to be a nightmare for the Bucs inside is Jones. They're going to have to double team him. If they don't, that's the guy that could wreck shop because Brady does not like interior pressure. That's what he struggles with most. That's what I'm counting on is that Jones, and they've got a backup guard in there, and maybe their starting guard will be back for the Super Bowl. He got hurt against Washington, and he didn't play against the Saints. He didn't play this week. If they start the same guard that they started in today's game and in last week's game against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, he's going to get his ass eaten for lunch. But I think their tackles are going to be just fine against Okafor and Frank Clark. I do. And so I don't think it's going to be like a blowout. I just think that Mahomes and company will be able to do whatever they want to do against this Buccaneers defense if they do not get pressure. That's the key. They got to get pressure on Mahomes. If they don't, it's going to be a long afternoon for them, or a long evening, I should say. HHC Lunar says, in the tune of the Rolling Stones, you can't always get what you want. And we never do. We never do. Cody Larson says, I am very sad. I am tired of NFC Championship game losses. Also, Rodgers isn't getting a second ring. It doesn't seem that way. This is the chance. I kind of answered that earlier, but this felt like the opportunity right here to get that elusive second ring for him. I was rooting like hell for it. He's one of my favorite guys. You know that, at the quarterback position. One of the best I've ever seen do it in this lifetime. And it's unfortunate that he's probably going to end with one ring. We'll see. We've seen guys with lesser talents and lesser skill at the end of their career hang on long enough to get another ring, like Peyton Manning, for example. I won't count him out yet, but this seemed like a very big missed opportunity for Aaron Rodgers. And it's tough, man. It's tough. Tough to get to the NFC Championship game. You don't want to take these things for granted. They've gotten here twice in the last two. They got here twice in the last 2 seasons consecutively, and they've been in the NFC Championship game now, 3 times in the last 6 seasons. They were there against the Falcons the year they went in 2016. So they've been a bunch of times, and they haven't gotten it done. Ali Side says, hasn't the Raiders fan, cough, me suffered enough? Last year, Chiefs versus 49ers, now Brady versus Mahomes. I mean, I'm salty as hell right now. I get it, but yeah, I mean, you got to do something about it. He's in your division, and you did your part. I mean, without your win, they're undefeated right now. So, because they probably would have went after the Chargers with more vigor in Week 17 had they been undefeated at that point. But you did your part. I mean, what else can you do, right? JP says, and there it is, Lou. Brady versus Mahomes with the Lombardi on the line. A chance for Mahomes to avenge the loss to Brady in the 2018 AFC title game as well. Well, he's already done that. In the AFC Championship game, well, not the AFC Championship game. Last year, he didn't have to beat him for that, but he's already beaten Brady twice since then. But, I mean, I guess with more stakes on the line, this is bigger. Probably means more. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than the Super Bowl, right? So, yeah, this is pretty big. Lamar says, I'm low-key sad. Hashtag go pack. You should be. You should be. It was a missed opportunity, man. You know? Kevin King waited till the worst possible time to have his absolute most dreadful game of his career. I mean, he was awful in tonight's game. The pass interference late. Look, the argument, let me stress this again. And I think I said this very eloquently and very succinctly on the show earlier, but I'll say it again for some of you hard of hearing. It was clearly pass interference. That isn't the issue. The issue is you haven't been calling it all game on either side, so this is not the time to now call it. That was the issue. And so Kevin King had a rough go of it, you know. The very first touchdown to Mike Evans, he's in position, and the man jumps 20 minutes before the ball gets. Like, dude, can you time your jump any worse than you just did on a third down where all we need is a knockaway? What the hell was that? He didn't have any answers for you. You give up the touchdown with 8 seconds left in the second quarter. What are you doing anyway, guy, over there? What are you doing? Seriously, I'm asking. What are you doing? What are you doing? And then the pass interference late in the game. He was awful. But he wasn't alone. JP says, how about them Buccaneers, Lou? All offseason, you guaranteed they wouldn't even... First of all, I said they wouldn't even make it to the playoffs. That was my first prediction. Get it right. If you're going to come after me with facts. My first declaration was they were going to miss out on the postseason. And I felt good about that at around week number 9 when they were struggling and Bruce Arians and Brady seemed like they were heading on this collision course for pointing fingers at one another. And Arians was calling out Brady every other week. Felt like they were heading down that road. And they were able to kind of, you know, I blame the Falcons for this, really, because they were supposed to be good this year. And those last 2 games down the stretch against Atlanta, they were supposed to be losses. At least one of them was supposed to be a loss, but they weren't any good. And they had them down big, and they let them off the hook, and we ended up here. But I predicted 9-7, and they missed the postseason. I quickly edited that after like 3 weeks into the season where I realized, okay, they're a lot better than I thought. A lot quicker, too. Especially with no offseason. Thought they were going to struggle out of the gates. They didn't. And, yeah, they did in week 1, but after that, they got their shit together. After destroying Green Bay in week 5, it might have been week 6, I think it was. Green Bay had already had a bye week, I think. And they were 4-1. No, it was week 5 because Green Bay had, I thought Green Bay had an early bye. Whatever, I don't know what the hell it was. It doesn't matter. They destroyed Green Bay in that game, and I said, okay, no, they're legit. They're going to make the playoffs. But I knew they were going to beat Washington. I thought they were going to lose to the Saints. Again, I didn't realize, and shame on me, because had I realized what Drew Brees was reduced to, I would have picked the Bucs. And I should have known because what really blinded me was they destroyed the Vikings. Everybody was destroying the Vikings. Everybody was scoring 40, 50 on the Vikings. And they scored 52 on Christmas Day. And so I was like, oh, man, they got it going offensively. And then they turned around. And I didn't watch that Panthers game, admittedly, in Week 17. But they rung up 33 points in that game. And I'm thinking, yep, they got the shit going. And then it was really lackluster. It was a boring-ass game against the Bears. But I'm like, hey, they didn't really need to score. Who cares? It was 21-7. They did enough. I should have been – all the signs were there. I ran through the stop sign. I ran through the red light, and I deserved what I got in the divisional round. I didn't think there was any way in hell they were going to beat Green Bay, though, unless they got to Rodgers, and they did. And they did. And that's why they won the game, if you want to be honest. They got to Rodgers. They won in the red zone. I talked about one of the keys being winning in the red zone. They won in the red zone. They won that battle. They won the football game. Atlas says, this game really showed me all the things I dislike about Josh Allen. I think he gave up like 5 30-yard sacks tonight. Yeah, Josh is my guy, so I'm going to defend him. But you're right. This is one of the knocks on Josh Allen, is that he's got that Carson Wentz, Joe Burrow syndrome that he suffers from, where no play is ever over. I can find a way to salvage it. Sometimes the defense wins. And a wise man once told me, don't make a bad play worse, okay? They won on this snap. It's 2nd and 8. They won. Throw it away. I'd rather be in 3rd and 8 than 3rd and 23. But that's what happens when you're Josh Allen and you think you can stiff arm the entire world. So all I'm going to do is stick out my left arm and hopefully you fall off of me. And I'm going to be able to find somebody down the field for a first down. But what happens? And when it goes right, we all laud and praise. Oh, look at Josh Allen. He's so big and strong. Look at this guy, man. He's impossible to deal with. But when it doesn't work, it looks like tonight. And it looks like a 15 or 17-yard sack. And it destroys any hope of having a really good drive. If you got one going, it's dead now. If you had one, you may not be in field goal range. And if you were trying to start one, well, that's dead now. He's going to have to understand, not every play is a home run. You don't step to the plate as a baseball player looking for a home run. You got a runner on second base with no outs. Your job isn't to hit one over the fence. If you get a pitch you can handle and you're sitting on it, hey, deposit it into the seats. A base hit scores them. That's great. But above all else, your job is to put the ball in play on the opposite side of the field and advance that runner to third base with one out so a sac fly scores that guy. That's your job. And for Josh Allen, he's got to learn that we're not always looking for the RBI double. We're not always looking for the 2-run home run. I just need you to sacrifice. I just need you to knock that runner over to third base. Throw the damn ball away. Live to fight another day. It's now 3rd and 8. You got a chance to convert. You're not converting 3rd and 23. He'll learn. That's why these experiences are important. He'll learn. Gregory Lightbody says, you think Rodgers will finally ask for a trade? Nah, not yet. He wants to win a Super Bowl, and I think he understands his best chance to do it. He's been to 2 straight NFC Championship games. I think he understands his best opportunity is with Devontae Adams and Robert Tonyan and MVS and all of those guys. I don't know if Alan Lazard will be back or not. I don't know what they're going to do in the draft, but Aaron Jones probably won't be back. I don't think they're going to re-sign him, but he understands that this is his best chance. Whether they add weapons for him or not, you're not going to find a better receiver with the same kind of rapport that he has with Devontae Adams. I think he wants at least one more shot in Green Bay. Next year is when I think the Packers will start to really legitimately field offers for Rodgers. But I think you gotta think that there's one more year that they're going to try to run this thing back in Green Bay. Niners fan says, damn, Lou, just thinking back to last year and how we held this dynamic offense to 10 points through 3 quarters. Now our roster is about to look very different, and I don't know when we'll be back. It's amazing what you were able to do, but that's just a testament to how good your defense was last year. You smothered the Packers, and then you turned around and for not just 3 quarters, 3 quarters in 5 minutes, you smothered the Chiefs offense and held them to 10 points. Should have won that game. 3rd and 14 is what I think about. I think it was 3rd and 14. Unbelievable. Got a super chat here from Joe Rockhead J. Thank you for the super chat, Joe Rockhead J, who writes, Rodgers can't win a chip with Heineke around. Just joking. Just kidding. I'm really disappointed in Aaron Rodgers. I really am. You know, I tweeted out before that final drive when they got the football back, down 31-23, and before that drive even started, I said, it's game time, first of all. It's game time. This is it right here. It's now or never for Aaron Rodgers. And I said, this is legacy altering type stuff that kind of territory we're chartering into with this drive. And with 8 yards of grass in front of him and 2 Buccaneer defenders trailing that I think he can outrun, he tries to force it to Devontae Adams with 2 Buccaneers defenders bearing down on him. You didn't want it. You didn't want it bad enough. That's what that says to me. Because even if JPP is going to catch you and you think he's going to hawk you down, make him catch you at the 2. Make him catch you at the 3. Now it's 4th and goal from the 2 or the 3. I like my chances 4th and goal from the 2 or the 3, then 4th and goal from the 8. Still got to go for it if you're Matt LaFleur. It doesn't matter. 4th and goal from the 2, 3, or 8. You still got to go for it, but I like my chances. That like I said, and I said this earlier, that was John Elway helicopter territory. Like, you're going to have to kill me now. I want it that bad. He didn't want it that bad. He didn't want it that bad. He didn't want it bad enough. Because at that moment, you was going to have to catch my ass. I ain't throwing shit right there. Not unless I see a guy wide ass open and Adams was not that, you're going to have to catch my ass. I'm going for it. Old ass 37-year-old Aaron Rodgers and all. What, 36, however the hell old he is. Catch me. He can still scoop. Catch me. He didn't want it bad enough. Really disappointed, man. Really disappointed. Really, really disappointed. So we've hit our hour mark. I'm gonna take a couple more comments and we'll get out of here. Cody Larson says, and I've been waiting since 2014, damn it. 2014 was when I became a fan. Again, you were in the NFC Championship game in 2016, that 2017 NFC Championship game versus the Atlanta Falcons. That was the season where you knew they weren't going to beat Atlanta. That offense was just a juggernaut, and that Packers defense was just awful. But Rodgers had put the Packers on his back that postseason, went to Dallas, and steamrolled a hot Cowboys football team that had a first-round bye. And he went to Dallas like it was nothing and hit that Jared Cook play on the sidelines. Like, still one of the craziest throws I've seen in a pressure-packed situation. And he hits him like it's nothing rolling out to his left. But you knew you weren't going to beat the Falcons the next week on the road, and they destroyed you. But, I mean, you've had opportunities, man. Rodgers didn't get it. This is the first time. Like last year, I didn't put that on Rodgers. The team wasn't good enough. That was LaFleur's first time in a championship game. The team wasn't good enough. They had already been destroyed by that 49ers team. They got what I expected them to get. This felt like a winnable football game, and it was. And it wasn't just Rodgers who lost this game. I talked about Kevin King's horrendous afternoon. I talked about Matt LaFleur's decision-making in this game, and you can blame it on some of their defensive play calling. I mean, how is it not a too-deep look with 8 seconds left. How is it possible that Kevin King is matched up essentially one-on-one? I mean, it's like cover 4, but essentially, how is Kevin King matched up one-on-one with the fastest player on the field, Scotty Miller? How is that possible? Why? I don't, safety should be over the top. I don't understand. Help me. But put all of that aside. Game's on the line. You got a chance to score the touchdown. You got to still get the 2-point conversion. That's not easy, as we saw earlier when they didn't convert. But that's nor here nor there. And you shouldn't have even been in that position, because in my mind, I'm like, why are we going for 2 here again? Oh, you want to cut it to a field goal game? The Buccaneers aren't done scoring. So that field goal you're trying to cut it to, not important. It's not important. They're going to score again. So just kick the damn extra point. That's how I felt in the moment. They went for it, and guess what? Had they scored the touchdown and not gotten a 2-point conversion, I would have been bitching about that. But they never scored the touchdown, so it didn't come into play, so it didn't matter. But don't chase points when you don't need to chase points. There are going to be many more possessions in the game. And oh, by the way, the Bucs aren't done scoring. Just in case you forgot that's Tom effing Brady on the other sideline. They're going to score another point in this game. And they did. But I digress. This was his chance. Put all of that stuff aside that I mentioned already. He had a chance to write another chapter in what has been a glorious book of Aaron. And I just thought this chapter ended in a whimper. I was like, that's it? Like, this felt like a really well done Tyler Perry movie that just has a horrendous ending. And a lot of them do. It's almost like they tell Tyler, hey, man, you got 2 years to shoot this whole movie, and we're going to give you 20 minutes to shoot the ending. That's what this felt like. Kind of like, this movie, all this build-up, all this suspense, and that's the end. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Moving on. JP says, I know this isn't a Washington show, but I hope Washington is watching these conference championship games to motivate themselves to make a run next year. You can be motivated all you want, but at the end of the day, you need dogs. You need dogs. We don't have enough of them right now. You need dogs. JP says, man, Lou, this feels like the end for Green Bay's Super Bowl hopes. I don't feel that way. If we find out in a week or two that Aaron Rodgers is frustrated by the way the end of that game went, and their decision, Matt LaFleur's decision not to go for it on 4th down, and frustrated about what they did with Jordan Love last year. Let's look at it this way. The NFL free agency comes and goes, NFL draft comes and goes, and the Packers don't get Aaron Rodgers any help. And Alan Lazard leaves in free agency. And Aaron Jones leaves in free agency. And they really don't go out and get anybody of note in the draft or free agency or anything of the sort. And he's pretty much left to his devices again. And he says, you know what? You guys, you're not serious about winning. I want out. Let me out now. Okay. Then it feels like this is over. It doesn't feel like that in the moment. Everybody's disappointed right now. Everybody's upset at how everything transpired and unfolded, in this game, and you don't go to Tampa. But I think when it's all said and done, he realizes this is his best chance to win, he being Aaron Rodgers. I think the organization realizes Rodgers has a ton more of football left in him, and if they want to win a Super Bowl with this nucleus of guys that they have, 12 gives you the best chance. And I think they're going to run it back one more time. And I think everybody involved really deserves that. They got to understand that this next year, though, if in fact they are able to go through with it, is it. This is it. Like, they got to treat this like we won't get this again next year, because they got a young guy that they got to figure out about. And year 3 is right around the time when you really need to start digging into whether this guy can play or not. So Jordan Jones says, Frank Clark had 6 seasons this season. What did I say? I said 6.5 was the number I threw out. No more than 7. He had 6. Why the hell is he in the Pro Bowl, man? That's bullshit. You telling me nobody in the AFC as a pass rusher, as a defensive end, as an outside backer deserved to go more so than Frank Clark? I find that hard to believe. And maybe there was nobody in the AFC that was getting after the quarterback. I find that hard to believe. It's bullshit. Anyway, I digress. Damian Powell says, great games, but just seem like the football gods are lining up things for Brady to win his last Super Bowl. Why would you say that this is his last Super Bowl? With the way that they're playing, with the way that they're set up, with how good they are and all the talent they have in Tampa, it doesn't have to be it. Who's stopping? We already had this conversation on the podcast. Who's stopping the Buccaneers, first of all, from winning their division? You can't trust the Falcons. They look like they're hitting a reset button any damn way. Or it's going to be the Carolina Panthers all of a sudden? The Saints look like they're dead in the water now with no Drew Brees. Like, who's stopping them from winning their division, one? And who's stopping them from getting back to the NFC Championship game again next year? You look around the conference. Who's stopping them? I'll admit that the football gods are lining things up, but no. This doesn't have to be it for Brady, just so you know. I don't know. We'll see. Damian Powell says, totally off subject, I think the Washington football team needs to take a real look at getting Matthew Stafford. What do you think? Yeah, I think they are taking a really hard look at that. So are 6 other teams around the league. I mean, they're not alone. Like I said, New England, Indianapolis, to me, this is what you have to understand. And I was going to save this for a Washington show or my podcast, but I can say it now. It doesn't matter. I can say it again. I'm going to say it a million times anyway. When trades like these happen, the first inclination is to trade the player outside the conference. You don't trade a guy in the conference so that you have to see him again. The thought process is you trade a guy like Stafford to Indy or to New England. You don't trade him to Washington or New Orleans, someone that can make you pay in your own conference. So the likelihood, unless they're getting shafted by Indy and New England with the deals that they're putting on the table, the likelihood that Stafford gets traded in the conference is slim and none. Just so you know. He's more likely to end up a Denver Bronco or a New England Patriot or an Indianapolis Colt than he is a Washington football team. Look at all the massive trades that have happened over the last 4 seasons. All right, let's go back to the Khalil Mack trade. Disgruntled with the Raiders, wants out. Where does he go? Look, it was an awesome deal that they got. But they trade him to the Bears in another conference. Look at the deals this offseason. All right? You got the Jamal Adams trade. Disgruntled, one side of the Jets. You don't trade him to New England. You don't trade him to Pittsburgh. You don't trade him to Broncos. You don't trade him somewhere in the conference. You trade him to Seattle. Now, again, sweet-ass deal. 2 first-rounders. Don't know if they were getting that from anybody else. Still. Let's look at the DeAndre Hopkins deal. Houston. First of all, if you're the Texans, that's not even anywhere close to the best deal you could have gotten. You got shafted. So it wasn't like the other deals where it's a sweet-ass deal. This was a bullshit-ass deal. And they did it anyway. Why? Because, one, they needed someone to take on the contract and give him a new contract. 2, they wanted him out of the conference. Don't want to see this guy, twice a year in the division or once a year in the conference, potentially twice in one season. If we play them in the regular season, got to play them again in the postseason. So they trade him to Arizona. And then, obviously, the Stephon Diggs trade. Not happy in Minnesota. Disgruntled. Wants out. Don't trade him to the Bears. Definitely not going to do that inside the division. Don't trade him to the Eagles. Don't trade him to somewhere in the conference. Ship him off to Buffalo. He'll be fine out there. Same thing I think is going to happen with Matthew Stafford. He's not disgruntled. They're not mad. He's not mad. They just want to part ways. They just don't want to see Matthew Stafford in the conference. So we'll see what happens. But I'd put my money on Matthew Stafford ending up with an AFC team. Anyway, Michael Weinstein says, how about Aaron Jones' fumble? Bucks scored TD off of it. Oh, it was massive. He got lit up. I put some of that on Aaron Rodgers. He put too much air on that football. He threw that like it was a touchdown pass from the 2-yard line and nobody else is around and he just got to get it to him. And it's an easy walk-in. Bro, it's 3rd and 5 and you need to get it to him right now so he can protect himself. And he lofts it up in the air and Jones has got to wait and then he finally gets it. And by the time he turns around, he gets walloped. He had already fumbled early in the game on a similar situation where Whitehead had put helmet on ball. It's a good hit. It's a big play. Because I remember tweeting out, this is a massive drive. After that touchdown you gave up right before the half, it's a massive drive to start the second half. If you're if you're Green Bay, down 21-10, feels like this thing is slipping away. And not only do they not get points, because Jones was going to be short on the tackle, so they're going to have to punt. Not only did they not get points, you fumble and give them a great scoring opportunity. And on the very next snap, they did score a touchdown. I mean, it's huge. It's massive. Anyway, I digress. I'm going to go ahead and glide to the side, allow you guys to enjoy the rest of your evening. So now we know what it is. Super Bowl 55 in Tampa Bay, Buccaneers, first team in NFL history to play a home Super Bowl game. Never thought I'd see it. Just like a Triple Crown, never thought I'd see it in my lifetime. I thought with the way these venues are set up, never thought that the team that is hosting the Super Bowl would actually be good enough to get there. We dodged a bullet back in 2017 with Minnesota. Remember, Minneapolis was going to be the host side of the Super Bowl, and the Vikings had a chance. Not with Case Keenum, man. No. NFL, the football guys weren't going to allow that shit to happen. But Brady? Now you're talking my language. So, that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me. If you haven't already done so, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, if you would, please, so kindly. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Never know when I'm going to go live. Never know when I'm going to drop that podcast on you. Whatever the case may be, just hit that notification bell. And then also, if you haven't already done so, only 59 likes. It's over 170 of you in the chat right now. Come on, guys. Hit the like button. Help a brother out. So I thank you guys wholeheartedly for the entire journey this season. We got one more game left. Game 256 left. Didn't know if we were going to get here. After all of the COVID-19 issues with other sports, didn't know if we were going to get through 256 of these. 255 down, one to go. And you could argue we got two of the best teams in the league. We definitely got the best the AFC had to offer. Maybe it's time to say we got the best that the NFC has to offer too. Sure felt like the better team won the game today. Not going to lie to you. So maybe this was the best that the NFC had to offer. Either way, it's going to be a fantastic Super Bowl. Brady versus Mahomes. It's a hell of a consolation prize. It's not what I asked for, but it's what we're going to get. I'm not mad at it, but I'm damn sure not glad at it. In any event, I'm your man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. And you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Chiefs get it done 38-24 over the Buffalo Bills to clinch their second consecutive berth in the Super Bowl, looking to repeat as Super Bowl champions for the first time since the Patriots did it in 2003 and 2001, 2002. They had that break in 2003 It was 2003 and 2004. They won it in 01. The Bucks won it in 02, and then the Patriots came back and won it in 03 and 04. Haven't had a repeat champion since. Seattle should have done it in 13 and 14, but they didn't know how to run it with Marshawn Lynch. The Chiefs are now going to try to repeat for the first time since the Patriots. And you guessed it, Thomas Brady did it back in the early 2000s. So that's going to do it for me. You guys have a good one. Stay safe. And I will see you guys later on during the week. Until then, enjoy the rest of your night. Have a good one. And remember, if it's not your man T, it's not, I repeat, not the best NFL coverage. It could be. Till next time, you guys have a good one.
LouieTeeNetwork.